Let's get back to Alice Gaynor live outside Trump Tower. We just saw Alice, the motorcade, moving along the FDR Drive, so they've got to be close. Any changes there?
Very quickly, we did overhear on one officer's radio. We're hearing about 3 minutes away now. I'm going to step aside so my photographer Matt can give you a better look down by Trump Tower. We're not sure what we'll be able to see. Traffic is continuing to move. They have not closed off Fifth Avenue. We don't know if the motorcade's going to go on Fifth. They might go on Madison. We just don't know right now. It's very orderly out here. You know, you have to really credit law enforcement out here for keeping the peace. So far, everyone's been really respectful that we can tell of one another. At least on our side of the street. The other side seems to be pretty orderly as well. That's where we have a few dozen supporters. We have some anti-Trump protesters here as well. Neither of them are getting into it. I believe, is that Dan Rice?
Yes, we do. Dan, go right ahead. Thanks, Alice.
Yep, we just watched the crowd, or the police from motorcade here, make the right onto Madison Avenue. They just came off of 53rd Street, so now they are making their way up Madison Avenue. We're going to lose them at the buildings there, but we can tell you they are making their way along Madison Avenue at this point.
All right, the motorcade, a little bit of static there, making its way on Madison Avenue, turned at 53rd Street. Coming from the east side, FDR Drive, LaGuardia Airport. The president landing less than an hour ago. Coming into New York, there's the front of Trump Tower, Marcia. And right, Dan, that's the front of Trump Tower?
I believe, yeah, we should be right about over Trump Tower.
Right, no, that's a tough shot, and we appreciate you and the crew getting that for us. Mark.
No problem there, but that is Trump Tower.
Okay, so he should be there any minute.
Right here, Jacob.
Marcia.
Yep, that's the motorcade right there.
They're probably going to bring him in 56th Street side because there's a back entrance that go to Fifth Avenue, so they're probably going to bring him in the back entrance that's nearer to 56th Street.
Here we are watching this right now.
That should be on 56th Street, I believe.
Here we get some perspective.
And there should be right there where we see the police barricades. Alice was talking about those buses right there on the right side of your picture there with the NYPD on top.
Yeah, we see them both.
Should be.
And we see that huge NYPD bus there, so we know just huge presence. And also, though, Dan, we're seeing they're keeping traffic moving, as the mayor and the commissioner said. Where they can, they will.
It's
on that side.
You got to come around this building here, Jacob. Yeah, the building, unfortunately, is blocking us.
Understood.
There, so we're not sure we can get around.
Be careful.
There.
No, your safety is most important. Don't you worry about that. So, Marcia, again, as the motorcade makes its way, and President Trump, as you said, and he often did not just walk out the front door.
Well, I think another thing we should point out is we're going to be very careful about the numbers of people who are going to be in the courthouse tomorrow. But I'm telling you, the courthouse canceled all 4 hearings tomorrow afternoon so that they can have people in the courthouse.
All right, now we are looking. The motorcade has arrived. We are seeing doors opening.
And there's President Trump leaving his car right there going into Trump Tower.
President Trump just leaving the car going into Trump Tower, a place that
on the side.
He lives. He has a place. It's not his residence, the penthouse.
And that was the side entrance on 56th Street.
Okay. All right. Thank you for clarifying that. And Marcia, as he faces the indictment and
389 up here.
The unsealing of the indictment and the arraignment tomorrow. Let's just go over again what the former president. What do you think he's feeling, Marcia? Covered him for decades.
Well, I think that there's a number of emotions. Number one,
it was 56. Yeah, that's what he used to do.
I think he's probably feeling
that's what they used to
excited
do,
because
right?
it gives him an opportunity to.
I mean, why would they do anything different?
To spark his presidential campaign and to get more people to support him as he tries to say that he's been unjustly accused and that it's a political prosecution as opposed to a criminal prosecution. That's the argument he is going to make. That's also the arguments that his lawyers are going to make in the next weeks as they try to either get the indictment dismissed or changed in some possible way. You know, they can't really do that until they look at all the counts and see what grounds they have to challenge the theory of the prosecution that has been advanced by Alvin Bragg.
So after the indictment tomorrow, the arraignment, pardon, which usually lasts, what, 15 minutes? I mean, these are short procedures usually.
Well, it really depends, because what I'm told is that he's going to be brought directly to the 15th floor courtroom of the judge who presided over the trial of the Trump organization, and that in the holding pen he's going to be fingerprinted. It's unclear whether or not they will actually do a mugshot, because there's a machine that has to be brought there. And there's also a concern that the mugshot might be released, and they don't want to have that happen.
Yes, released and used either by him or others.
Well, I mean, the thing is that he has said that he would like it to be a campaign
on
poster
T-shirts and stuff,
or
yeah.
a T-shirt or whatever, and so they want to make sure that that doesn't get out. So it's unclear whether they will actually take a mugshot, but they will fingerprint him before he goes into the courtroom. Then the judge will convene the court. He will be given the indictment. He will unseal the indictment. He will give copies of the indictment to the Trump attorneys, who will have an opportunity to look at it. I'm not sure whether he gives them a period of time to look at it, but at some point they will advise Mr. Trump what's in the indictment, and then the judge will ask him to plead. It's unclear whether he will plead to the entire indictment or he will plead to each individual count. Sometimes the judge does it an individual count. But the one thing we should point out is that there will be practically nobody else in the courthouse, that they have adjourned every other criminal proceeding so that there will be a minimum of traffic, a minimum of people, and that he will have it to himself. It'll be as safe and secure as they could possibly guarantee.
He is the former leader of the free world.
He is.
That is understood. Security is a top priority. This is a picture again from Chopper 2 on 56th Street, where former President Donald Trump got out of the motorcade. We saw him go into Trump Tower. Marsha, let's just continue on the day tomorrow. After this, he's expected to go right back to Florida.
He is.
But,
you know, we should also point out that when he comes out tomorrow, you're going to see him come out the 56th Street entrance. He's always done that because the Secret Service regards that entrance as more secure than to have him come out on Fifth Avenue, where all the protesters and people are. And they will take him directly, probably the same route that they came to before. They'll go down the FDR Drive to the courthouse.
All right. Before we get to Florida, you just saw the picture breaking up, the helicopter. Ali Bauman we have two reporters down on the ground outside Trump Tower. Ali, can you sense any difference of what happened? Did you see the motorcade? Any changes in traffic?
Well, Dana, you know, it's always crowded, and you know, the traffic is always tight around here in this part of Manhattan, especially around 4 p.m. on a Monday, but it definitely is more crowded than it would be a regular day. Of course, you have all the media trucks that are parked around here. Of course, you had the slowing down of traffic as the motorcade came through. We couldn't, from our vantage point here on 57th Street, exactly see the motorcade itself. It's on the other side of Trump Tower than where we are at this point. But of course, traffic slowed down. Honestly, I was surprised by traffic even still moving at that point. I thought it would be a complete standstill, but cars are going. They've been slowly going. They haven't even actually stopped at a complete standstill at any point that we've been here so far today. And of course, the NYPD has this place. I mean, everywhere you look, there's an NYPD officer, a uniformed NYPD officer. And of course, we know that there's many Secret Service agents around here as well. The police have a lot of these barricades up all over the place. As I was saying before, it's kind of like similar to like a parade that you would go to, where in order to cross the street around here, you do have to like weave through a lot of the barricades. It's not just like an open space, but for the most part, things except for right in front of Trump Tower are pretty much open to the public. I mean, you can see, you know, on the other side where there are protesters, and there are a few dozen protesters, but mostly people here, they're tourists, they're commuters who are walking through and just want to see, you know, what the heck is going on and why all this commotion is going on. You can hear the helicopters above me, you know, some of those police helicopters, but of course some of those Dan Rice and our own choppers above, following it through and seeing what's going on with the motorcade here. But so far, the NYPD has a good handle on things and has this place under control for the most part. I mean, they've been planning for this now for a couple of weeks at this point, and working with federal law enforcement, working with the Secret Service agents to make sure that this goes smoothly, that this isn't, you know, a big disaster for the city, and that this does, you know, as the mayor said earlier today, he knows that the whole world at this point is watching New York and how the NYPD and how the New York City officials are handling this moment and will handle tomorrow, and they want to make sure that they are not embarrassed in that moment, and that they do the city proud in a sense, to make sure that it shows that we can have a handle as a city on this kind of mass attention, this kind of mass show that this is, in the sense of all the people and you know, people from protesters coming in as well. But so far, the protesters have remained peaceful. You know, when we were talking to them earlier, they made a point to say they wanted to be here so that when the former president comes to his residence or comes to Trump Tower here, they see that he has supporters who are out here. But they have the big banners, as you were seeing in the video. They have the big flags, but everything's remained peaceful at this point. They're staying, for the most part, in the barricades the police have designated them to. And there are also, you know, protesters who are against Trump and who are in favor of the indictment who are there as well. But no clashes that we've seen at this point. It is going smoothly, even though a little chaotic. Dana, back to you.
Okay, thank you, Ali. Marcia, a final thought here as we head into the evening. The former president here to face arraignment tomorrow.
Well, I think the thing that you saw was the NYPD, the FBI, the Secret Service doing their best job. He arrived at at LaGuardia Airport, and the trip in was uneventful. The traffic was stopped. He walked into his apartment. Everything was calm. It was quiet. There was no need for any concern. And I think you're going to see that in the hours to come as he's taken out of that same entrance and he goes down to the courthouse area to be arraigned. I know they're going to bring him in a rear entrance. It's a sally port where usually the buses from Rikers Island arrive, so that you'll see him in those. You're not going to really see him walking into the courthouse. You're going to see the limousines with the blacked out windows, so you can't really see him. They'll take him to the rear of the courthouse. The same motorcade will be there, and then he will be brought to the 15th floor.
All right, that's tomorrow. Lots to go before that. Lots of reporting from us here. Thank you, Marcia. To recap, former President Donald Trump is now in New York City ahead of his arraignment tomorrow in Lower Manhattan. He was indicted by a grand jury last Thursday on charges related to hush money paid to adult film star Stormy Daniels. Stay with us here on CBS 2 and streaming on CBS News New York for coverage of the former president's surrender and arraignment tomorrow. But we'll be right back here on CBS 2 News at 5 with team coverage of today's historic events.